Islam Wars. Peace and love. Well, this one is going to be to show you how they playing you and how easily this gets put on our people, and they cannot comprehend things that they don't even understand is happening to them. So let's start over here. This whole thing, Black is King. We gotta deal with this. Okay, now first of all, let's be aware and be honest. This whole movie is a remake of the Lion King remake. Where where and think about who's doing it. Disney, right? Disney, they remade Lion King. They used Beyonce's voice for Nala, and they used James Earl Jones again. And then when Beyonce does this little Black is King stuff with Disney, they're playing voices and like excerpts from the movie Lion King, not the old one, like the new one. So you can hear her voice, you can hear like James Earl Jones. So I'm like, she's trying to remake the oldest story ever told, Lion King, which is really the Osiris story. So and then we seen the Moorish flag, right? We seen the Moorish flag in there. She has a scene where they're going all having like a little powwow at night, and so you can see the Moorish flag like in the lower left hand corner. Now, the crazy part about all this is that I see that the people in Hollywood, they're trying to codify Moors as just another African group. So how you have your Ghanaians, they're trying to codify Moors as just, oh yeah, that's just the Moroccans. But 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 when you do the history of so-called Africa, there was a time where they knew that land was only known as Mauritania, especially the western region, Mauritanian Empire. Thing with that is that the Phoenicians and the indigenous Berbers referred to the Mauritanians as the Morai, Mauri, the Morai. And when the so-called Greek came over the Pyrenees Mountains and the Phoenicians labeled them as the Hybidus, the Hybidus started calling the Mauritanians Morusi or Morus, and they were calling them whatever that word meant, black back then. But when I'm doing the studies on that, I'm starting to see that the word black back then, it wasn't even black, it was melanin. So they would say mortis instead of melanin. And the people that had the mortis were called the Moors, dark skinned people. Dark compared to any other modern day European. So when we deal with this Black is King, you got this young boy falling backwards through the universe towards the earth, which is reverse gravity. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. His spinal cord collapsed, so there's no Osiris there. I don't know what's going on. He's falling away from the mother, the moon. I don't get it. I don't get this. I don't like. What are we about to watch? So let's just see why Beyonce is subjugating the whole populace. Her bloodline is actually the bloodline of people that were down south that owned slaves, so-called slaves. They had slave ownership rights. So wait, you mean to tell me there's dark-skinned people in America that could own so-called slaves? Yeah, Beyonce's family was some of those people. They would call them French, but in ancient times or back in the day here, where you would say modern day Louisiana, yeah, Louisiana was the whole middle of America. So all the way up from the top of Michigan and Canada and all that, all the way down to what you would call Mexico is Louisiana or La Louisiana. Those people are the French, or they spoke French. So when we think of anybody else coming here calling themselves French, those are European immigrants. And we're going to prove it. We're going to prove that if Beyonce's family would have claimed their Moorish heritage and not slave French descendants, then they would have been better off. I'm going to prove it. Going to this little article, and shout out to Toriano Obashango L, because he had posted this in the community section on this page. So you know, you can look him up on YouTube, Toriano Obashango L, and go to the community part of his page, and you'll see this. Anyway, Beyonce's mom, Tina, recalls how racist birth certificate change created the star's name. No, wait. How do you make birth certificate race now? Now you're making a birth certificate race? One human race. So I don't know what they're talking about, races. See, to split the human race up, we'll deal with it. Tina Knows Lawson reacts to Beyonce Savage. Okay, we won't watch that. For many around the world, the name Beyonce is forever associated with the pop superstar Beyonce Knowles. Skip down. Turns out the moniker runs in the family, though its spelling has a complicated origin. Okay. It's not that hard. Get out of here, lady. I'm talking. It's not that hard to. It's not that hard to figure out, you know, where France is, modern day France, ancient Gaul. Like, it's not hard to find where that is. There's so much history. What are you talking about? It's a complicated origin. Oh, or is the origin Moorish type complicated to where if you want to play black games for the for the elite Hollywoodians and the Euphrastruck, then you have the Yusofuck. My fault. The Yusofuck. You have to make origin complicated now. It's hard to find Morocco now. It's hard to find Moroccan and okay, yeah, it's hard. It's hard to find out that France is really in America. It's interesting because a lot of people don't know that Beyonce is my last name. So wait a minute. Moors, you know how we portray our titles. It's at the end of the name, which if you're reading it in Arabic, the title would be first if you're reading it in Arabic because it goes backward. Like, so if you were reading Arabic from how we write it in so-called English, you would start at the end or from the right and go left. So you would say the L first. Doesn't that make you wonder about Spanish? So-called Spanish, the Castilian language? See, we were dealing with that with the Lapians de Sangre and how you had the Coptic Judaism and the Moriscos. Some of them were breaking away from the complete sellout and they were codifying Arabic in the Spanish language. That's called the Jamiendo. Al Jamiendo. So they have a mosque, famous mosque called Al Jamia, right? So Al Jamia is also that particular pastime. So if we understand the Arabic right, then we'll understand that Spanish has hidden Arabic symbols in it based off of the Al Jamiendo. So when you get these so-called Moors and Maranos, when they were making it understandable when you read Spanish to pick up on Arabic. Do you notice in the Spanish that we speak, the R's roll? The R's roll in Arabic as well. Arabic is how they would say it. But that's the same way that you would say it in so-called Spanish. El Jamiendo. So the point of making that whole, digression is to speak upon how if you read from right to left in the Spanish language or in the so-called Arabic language, the title of Amor being written in English, you would say the title first. Just like how you get El Grande, right? They put the L first in Spanish. It's the hidden El Llamando of that really being Arabic origin. So we continue. Beyonce is her last name. So the Beyonce or Bay Once is what it's spelling, Bay Once, is really the title, Bay. So why is it Once Bay? We'll get through this. Knowles Lawson explained, it's my maiden name. My name is Celestine Beyonce, which at the time was not a cool thing to have that weird name. I wanted my name to be Linda Smith because those were the cool names. What? Okay, Linda. So we make your Linda now. Now her wanting to be Linda, cool names and stuff, that teaching was passed down to her by her mother. And we're going to show you. This is deep. This is deep stuff we're talking about. The ancestry getting dispelled by a mother who had a mixed version of Creole understanding, because there's two versions of Creole. We're going to break this down. Final compound. But Lawson Knowles doesn't spell her name the same way her whole other as her other relatives do. Why? Okay, so according to the businesswoman, only she and her brother Skip, like we're skipping over the nationality, Skip spelled their last name Bay Once, while others in her family, it's spelled Beyonce. Beyonce, right? Now, to save you the research, Beyonce is a Spanish origin, right? It's of Spanish origin, and it means beyond others. So that's something that you would call royalty, beyond others. But the Bay being there, we already know what it really means. Mm-hmm. So I'm not even, now we're going to codify what really happened to why that O's there. How did that O get in there? We're going to show you. When Lawson Knowles asked her mother, Beyonce's grandmother, about the discrepancy, the O, so she understands, Miss Linda Smith here understands that the O is a discrepancy. See, now we're talking about legal understanding of how something fraudulent was put upon the record as signifying who her daughter. She could have got out of the damn birth certificate off of that alone, but watch this. Her reply was simple. So Beyonce's grandmother's reply was simple. That's what they put on your birth certificate. So she let the states put it on there. Now watch what Beyonce's mother says. So I said, well, why didn't you argue with them to correct it? So she understands correcting status. What? Well, then how come she didn't do it afterwards? Number tongue. Now for them. Huh? Number tongues. Or there is no statute of limitation on inheritance or fraudulence. Or that. But we'll keep reading. Knowles Lawson said, and she said, meaning her mother said, I did one time, the first time, and I was told, be happy that you're getting a birth certificate, because at one time, Black people, oh my gosh, Black people didn't get birth certificates. Now go back. Black is king, right? Now, if her mother knows this about what did they said this to her they said this to Beyonce's grandmother, and she up here acting like that she's Black when she's really a Moor, and her grandmother was called Black by the people that subjugated the birth certificate of Beyonce's mother being the grandmother's daughter. They changed the I into an O in the Beyonce title. At one time, black people didn't get birth certificates. What? Well, see, now don't call us black. If you don't call us black, we don't need their instruments to identify who we are here. Why? Because it's our land. Why would I need a occupier, a colonizer descendant, a person from England, Orient, to come here in another land that his blood doesn't go back to, and try to juxtapose Just Soleil over Just Sanguinis? We'll deal with it. Now, they don't have it in here, so I got to break this down to you. They call her a black person, but she would really be recognized as a free person of color if she were, if she was to hold on to the actual tribe, or I say tribe that she clinged to before being called black. These people, Beyonce's family, they're all Creolites. You can look that up, Creolite. Just look up Creole, and instead of the E on the end, put Lite, Creolite. Now, this is a situation happening that when the Europeans were coming over here in the early 1700s, they were subjugating people calling themselves Creolites. Now, the specific Europeans that were coming here were the Spanish and small amounts of the British, but it wasn't the so-called servants like that. It was more so the royal ones. But anyway, how did we prove that? They set up royal ports. So anyway, we'll look at how this is playing into when they were coming over. There were the miscegenation understanding, early eugenics understandings of how to subjugate the bloodlines of the Moors over here, just like they did in Spain, by using religion. And when I say using religion, not no spooky stuff, like literally claiming brotherhoods to a book with a story of bloodlines in it based off of ours. So it's not really to be taken literal, based off of ours. They take the basing, make it literal. Now look, base alchemy, the lead, the black, they take the base of it, make it literal, and then they dress upon it as if you could actually claim your blood lineage to Ruth the Moabitess. I mean, yeah, but it's figurative, because there's no such woman that ever lived called Ruth the Moabitess. That's part of that book. That's part of the story of Lot's two daughters raping him in his sleep, right? See, that's how they tell the story. If you understand cosmically that just represents Gemini, and there's nothing wrong with it. Or the daughters of so you got Aluza, Allah, and Manat, and she gives Allah the lot of the lands, and she gives Manat the lot of the religions to the lands, which would be the sin, aka the moon cycles, right? Los sin dios. It's because these people were moon-eyed. They were worshiping, or not worshiping. They had consecration for the moon. Europeans seen that and called it worship because he consecrated the sun, which actually subjugates the mother, which is the moon. If you understand the science of this. Now look at this. Look at this. Subjugates the science of the moon, makes the moon all small, right? Like that's not the mother. While the sun is falling backwards towards the earth. Reverse gravity on a ass. As above, so below. But it's what do you call it? Subjugating the real science to that. Because if you want to play this picture right, the moon it should be the sun, right? And then a woman coming from the earth to the sun. Because what does that mean? It means the mother is taking back over her possession of the sun and the solar cosmos. Because that's what she had possession of. We literally, because it was dark-skinned people, they took the sun and made the sun worshipable. Like you got to anthropomorphize it, like make a man the sun. Before the man was the sun, a lot was the sun. And a lot is the one who shines on the lands that sees whose lot will be given to which, son, which family line belongs in which lot, because it's ley lines to this. Chakras in the earth, we align the different stuff. So our magic doesn't work in places where we didn't conjure the magic up, if you understand what I mean. Now, being that we was all over the earth, it's all types of magic spots. But being in America, the magic spots that were readable to us, they were turned into buildings and stuff like that. So you can't even go to them. Twin Towers was built on top of a Muslim burial site. It was called, look this up, hallowed ground, right? Look that up when you look up 9/11. Look up 9/11's hallowed ground, right? It's going to tell you about a Muslim burial site that was under the Twin Towers. They said it was gold. No, it was Muslim burial site. And guess what they had? A boat under there. So they want to look where the damn so-called slave ships is at. Well, under 9/11's towers, under the Twin Towers, right? But that was all hidden and buried under that rubble when they destroyed it. So what they did was turn that same land into what they call Tower 1, where if you look at it, where the hollow ground is at, they call it Ground Zero. There's an upside down Kaaba there. So the Kaaba is going into the ground. So that's saying that if you would look at that from the upside down realm, they just put a Kaaba in the cosmos or in the spiritual realm, symbolically, because they know who was under there. They didn't want to get, the backbite from the Moors that was buried under there consecratively. It was a consecration. Now, when they put out movies like Exorcist, notice the Exorcist only happened, not the Exorcist, my fault, Poltergeist. When they put out movies like Poltergeist, that only happened because those people moved into a house that was built on top of a so-called Indian burial site. We know Indians are really Moors. So if they're telling you, you can't put your houses and your effects on top of indigenous ancestry. They know that in the damn Hollywood movies, horror movies, right? Horror movies, the Hours movies. Yeah, y'all get it. But if they know that you can't put your land on top of what was consecrated or monumented for another people, then they know they effed up. And then look what they put in the movies happens. They unleash spirits and people start dying, houses start falling into the earth. It's all, they hype it up. But that's spiritually what happens when we get our house in order. Keep going. So I just had to get that out of there about the so now we understand that originally Creole people were dark-skinned people that were here that they called La Louisiana, but after the so-called subjugation of the 1700s, when the European, Spanish, and some of the British ones, royal ones, were coming over here calling themselves Louisiana, they was calling the Creole people a mixed race. And then it's funny because when they originally came over here, Creole was the distinguished more from an an immigrant European and an African, literally. You can look it up. So then after they started this mixing stuff, they mixed the Africans in with the La Louisianans. They mixed in the Spanish and the so-called the couple royal bloodlines that was coming over here. Right. So they mixed them all in to be one new people called Creole. See, that's the subjugation called the caste. So according to Knowles Lawson, lack of proper birth certificate sent a specific message. They didn't even have birth certificates because it meant that you really didn't exist. Whoa, no. Exist where? Corporation? You mean you were never manufactured? That's a good thing. You weren't important. No. See, you trying to be Linda Smith. That's what this is. She trying to be Linda Smith. It was that subliminal message, the subliminal message of the damn paper bag test. And so I understood that must have been horrible for her. Not to even be able to have her children's name spelled correctly. No. Ain't no not be able, because all you got to do is lawsuit. Heck, you talking about? And then you don't want a damn birth certificate on your children anyway. But the lawsuit would be so they can give you that allodial title. It's another subject, because your blood got to be on the record properly. And ain't nobody can dispute that So I'm wondering why Morris is going against that. Just saying, Gwyneth Morris. We'll jump into the Black's Law in a little. She continued. They were like, "How dare you have a French name?" So they knew it was French. So ain't no damn complicated. Have a French name. Like, we're gonna screw this up for you real good. Now ain't no like. See, that's what you're saying. How dare you? Okay, so look, she could. They were like, nah. How dare you have a French name? No, because what do you mean French name? Because my ancestry is in Louisiana. What do you know about it? Well, what? See, this is exactly why you need your bloodline on the record. So you gotta have no baby with no damn birth certificate. You look at that new video that Toriano posted. Two different Moors give their accounts on how to properly have your child and not have to get shots, vaccine, or a birth certificate. Now, I never heard of no people that authenticated their birth certificate doing that. I don't think people with birth certificate authentication can claim their child without the birth certificate. I don't think that can happen. Nope. You're going to born a child because you're going to be talking some stuff about how you're going to claim back the birth certificate to get the collateral back. What collateral? Who? Who has the fiat to give you for this? The only reason you want to keep a birth certificate is because you want to give them evidence of the fraud. But if you had the chance or the knowledge to get your child away from that initially, why even start the fraud up? Yeah. Yep. Can't authenticate. Where you sending your apostille to? You got to send it to an outside location. You got to send it to another country. So are you telling the corporations that you're from Morocco, like the other Morocco that was built in 1956? No bueno, because that means you're not American then. That means you're only doing this so you don't get messed with when you get pulled over, so you can flash the goddamn card like Noble Jolly told you not to do. You flash the goddamn card to the European, but it's their card with the special stuff on it. He thinks you're Moroccan, so he leaves you alone. And then probably mess with you because, like, what are you doing? I never seen a dark-skinned Moroccan. I thought you were black. So then he, might want to search you. But if you got your so-called special trust this foreign, well, now we know where to trust foreign to. Is wherever you authenticated your apostille to, an outside country, overseas. Because we just want to be left alone. Mm-hmm. You know who else had special cards where they, as soon as they flash them the cops, they got them to leave them alone? Military people, special police officers, KKK. The KKK, you can prove that by looking up the story of so-called Malik, who these black people keep referring to as X. Malik El-Shabazz. He had I think it was one of the members in the so-called nation that was cool with Malik, was telling a story about how the KKK came to Malik's crib deep and everybody was shook because they had their gets. They came right up in that man's crib and was trying to bargain or whatever. He ain't want no parts of it. But that's when he found out what the other people, the other side was doing. You know what I mean? So in that, the guy who was telling the story said they showed us a card and left me with a card that whenever I showed it to the Europeans, they just left me alone. So it's a special card that they got to flash to the damn Europeans to get left alone. Well, look, man, I ain't even supposed to be here. What you mean you want to be? Listen, what you mean you want to be messed with? They here, ain't they? You gonna be messed with. You're going to be messed with. The fact that you even got to figure out how to authenticate something under some fraudulistic stuff just to move is part of the reason why. We'll keep going. And the different spellings persist to this day. Lawson said nothing, noting that her niece, whose last name is spelled the right way, Beyonce. So today, now she's naming them the right way. And she also said that she named Beyonce with the first name because she wanted to show keep it alive in the what do you call it? She wanted to keep it alive in the family name. There were no more males, so she made Beyonce the first. But if you got the niece Beyonce, then what the? Just playing around. So Beyonce's mother slave history, owning history. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you guys are going to do. Get this black out of here. Get black out of here. Okay. Beyonce slave owning ancestors exposing a troubling, oh my God, complicated, some more complicated history. See, it's only complicated when they want to talk about real stuff. The complicated history behind Beyonce's discovery about the love between her slave owning and slave ancestors. Come on, slave owning and enslaved ancestors, because when y'all own slaves originally, once y'all start being Christians and marrying each other, they only let you marry the woman under slave rights because they were giving the man all the rights. Yeah, patriarchal crap. Not the distant patriots right now that's riding for you know what we talking about, all that, you know, shutting down the child trafficking. It's the year shutting that shit down. Or sorry, year shutting that sugar honey iced tea down. Said I was going to stop the curses because I don't need no more curses. It's a year of shutting it down based off of what Trump is doing. That's the noble son right there. That's the noble fellow man right there. He doing his work. We need to start catching up and doing our work. If he clearing the swamp, we need to drain the swamp or two, or three, or four, or five, or six, or seven. Dang. Islam. Yeah, man, just hit me up. Messed up my whole damn joint. So we keep going. With Beyonce's appearance on the cover of the September issue of Vogue, I don't want to read us. Her life, body, and her heritage. I don't want to believe it. Read it. Come on, man. Keep calling me. Like, dude, it's a Zoom. Like, I can't answer when, you know. So anyway, and I learned, she stated, I researched my ancestors recently. She stated, I learned that I come from a slave owner who fell in love and married a slave. So let me guess, the Bay is what you call a slave, and she married a so-called European who was really the slave. Come on, man. I just told y'all about that Creole stuff. These people came over here as immigrants. They had to work off that immigration status, and we didn't keep people as slaves. We let them go. Indenture became a piece of paper. She doesn't elaborate on how she made the discovery on what is known about the individuals. I can't read this no more. What do you mean she ain't going to elaborate? See, I knew it. It's the pop-ups as soon as I got tired. Beyonce, look. The meaning of Beyonce is unknown. What do you mean? It's right here. The form of Beyonce is Beyonce. It's Spanish. I mean, it's French. Right here. Tina added the French. Name is French Creole descendant. Right. Creole. French Creole. That's here. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. The Bay Hive. I'm tired of it. And guess what? Land lottery. They gave up the land lottery in Georgia. So this is right on time. Why? Switch to my stuff here. Because there's something called the disabilities of free persons of color. They brought it up on the Toriano video, recent one, if you go watch it, where they was going in. So why I bring this up is because we got to read through this a little bit. It is based on 1818, right? 2 years before the land lottery. 12 years before the Indian Removal Act. Let me show you how they set this thing up. Let me show you how they set it up. So free white my fault. I'm jumping all like 50 years into the future from this date. No, but let's stay here. Free persons of color not allowed to hold slaves or real estate. So from the rip, it was a wrap. You couldn't own anything, meaning you can't make money like that unless you work for somebody. No free persons of color within this state. Indians and amity with this state accepted. What? So Indians got to own slaves. Do you hear it? Shall be permitted to purchase or acquire any real estate or any slave or slaves. So I'll digress from reading the whole thing, but it's specific stuff. So they basically had a differentiation of how they were going to punish Europeans or white persons, and how they were going to punish persons of color, how they were going to be prosecuted. It was going to be all you had to do if you were taking slaves, basically have an oath. If you didn't have an oath, they made the slave pay for it. Yo, this is crazy. Like, so say you took a slave and you didn't have the oath. All right, I think is it right here? Okay, watch this. 34. Answers of parties on oath may be required, provided always that in all trials which may be had under this act, except for the enforcement of penalties against white persons, right? Sure. This court shall be authorized to require the answer on oaths to such questions touching the same as that may deem relevant of all and every white person or persons claiming title to such persons of color, or to any real or personal property which shall be proceeded against as forfeited under this act, or in whose employment such persons of color may be, or who may be guardian of such color of person, the same shall be read as evidence therein. So, okay, no, I get that one now. They basically, you got to give up your slaves if you didn't have the so-called oath. But it was something, I think, I can't remember what page it was, but it was a page where I read where the way they worded it, it made it seem like they were going to give the prosecution to the person of color for the European not having the oath. See if I can find it. But that's neither here nor there. The point that I brought this up is because they also forbid persons of color to keep arms or firearms or carry firearms. So no firearms for so-called colored persons or black people, because black is a color, okay? That's, you can't, or Negroes, right? Oh, okay. I think I found it. Okay, yeah, I found a law. I found a law that's against, yeah, okay, it's 44. All right. So this is crazy. Like, because you can't have a gun if you're a Negro or a person of color or black. So how can Moorish army work for them if they can't own guns, but Moors can to defend? They're not allowed to, but they're going to be drummer boys? They can't help. So if man can't help himself, how can we help man? I never fought for a friend who wasn't willing to fight first. I never fought for a friend who was incapacitated to fight unless he was, getting rolled on or something. I jumped, of course. But if he was incapacitated to fight, AKA acting scared, like I wasn't going to jump right in as soon as he swung the first punch, well, then I can't just help him, like, because he don't got it in him. He going to get me rolled on and run on me or something. See? Well, we'll see. So in this one, persons claiming Negroes as slaves shall make oath. This is the one I was talking about. So this is also telling you that whole oath stuff is about ownership of slaves too. Take an oath. So did they take an oath to the Constitution? Did they take an oath to this and an oath to that? Okay, it better be to the Constitution, because this is saying making oaths to slavery. I'm having slaves. Hmm. I think that's in the Constitution, as a matter of fact. But not saying slavery is, because they're talking about being punished as a form of involuntary servitude. Well, you want to get your hand cut off, or you want to do involuntary servitude? Exactly. Okay. So, with this one, it's shall make an oath. When any persons of color charged with a violation of this act, right? So something just happened. Persons claiming Negroes as slaves shall make an oath. So any persons of color charged with violation of this act, right? So trying to own Negro slaves, shall be claimed by any individual as a slave. Such claimant or his or her agent shall dispose on oath that such person of color is in law the slave of such claimant, and not nominally held as such, or in violation or evasion of the fourth section of the Act of 1818, so 1880, 1818, or other laws of this state, and in default of such oath. Now watch this. Now, if the so-called person trying to take this colored person as a slave doesn't have the oath, so in default of such oath, such persons of color shall be deemed and adjudged liable for the pains and penalties described in the second section of this act. Huh? What? So, all right, I don't know. If I look at it again, maybe they're talking about persons of color owning slaves without taking an oath. So, it's just weird. But anyway, you go to the bottom and it says exceptions in the favor of Aborigines, Moors, and Hindus. The provisions, prohibitions, and penalties of this act shall not extend to any American Indian, free Moor, or Lascar, but the burden of proof in all cases of arrest of any person of color shall be on such persons of color to show him or herself exempt from the operations of this act. So do you see now why Beyonce and them is playing? Do you see why they're playing so crazy hard? Because it's on them to claim. They got to make a claim. But, to keep their Hollywood stuff going on, they won't claim. So let's go into the videos. I've heard it and had it. These people are literally talking about putting Biden as the so-called president. I don't vote. It's not my stuff. I don't vote. I wouldn't vote for Trump or him. But, because it's not a, what do you call it? A free national ballot. I give a free national vote for a free national ballot and a free national parties that's running. Candidates, free national candidates. But other than that, I don't have nothing to do with it. But why I wanted to bring this guy up is because if you didn't understand already the weirdness in this guy, let's just deal with a little bit weirdness.
Because if we lose them, we are in real trouble. We should be making those masks. We should be moving on those ventilators. We can do that. Why doesn't he just act like a president? That's a stupid way to say it.
Donald Trump was asked us.
Okay.
Sorry.
Weird.
Go ahead.
No.
Somebody telling him to chill. In the back, somebody in the background of his set telling him shut down.
I just can't figure the guy. It's like watching a yo-yo.
What?
I shouldn't have said it that way. It's
like what?
That way. I want to ask.
You're weird, yo.
It's okay.
We have never failed to respond to a crisis as a people. And I tell you what, I'm so darn proud. And those poor people who have lost, anyway.
So that's enough. He can't even figure out what to say. So y'all have already seen that And of course, y'all know about that weird corn pop video where this scene.
You're in the state of Delaware.
Here we go.
Everything about.
Right to it. Right to it. Listen to this.
And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun.
What?
And the kid used to come up and reach in and pull and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap.
What?
And I love kids jumping on my lap. And I tell you what, the men, they're not all men, the guys I work with down here, and they're all.
Okay, no. They're going to, so they just let him say that, and nobody said nothing. I know y'all seen all the sniffing videos and all that stuff. I ain't going to go into them. But listen to the retardation of this man. Like, listen how he speaks.
Sure. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Wealthy. So that means that, shit, yo. So he basically saying anybody who not so-called white is poor. This is crazy. That's worse than racism. Do you hear this? Anyway, keep going.
Black kids.
There you go.
He's gonna let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchained Wall Street. They're gonna put y'all back in chains.
Huh? Let's one more time. One more time.
He's gonna let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchained Wall Street. They're gonna put y'all back in chains. I've had a great relationship. In Delaware, the largest growth in population is Indian Americans moving from India. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
So that, first of all, they tell him himself. That's showing that they understand that so-called Indians are from India or Hindustan. And this fool is about to talk about Indian accents when there ain't no such thing. What is an Indian accent? Out of there. So let me show you where he comes from. Let me show you where his comeuppance, where his what his point is. Watch this.
Is you must take back the streets, and you take back the streets.
Hold up.
One step.
Let's get this real into perspective. Okay. This one he was young boy, you know what I'm saying? For the Senate. Do you see where it say crime bill? I know the bar is in the way, but it says crime bill. He's speaking on the crime bill that he put forth. Look what the crime bill about. Let's understand what the crime bill is about, so you can see who the hell these people talking about they want to vote for. The grandmothers and all that. What?
Take back the streets, and you take back the streets by more cops, more prisons, more physical protection for the people. I hope this crime bill, when it passes, the Biden-Hatch crime bill, as it becomes law, God willing, I hope that we will have ended once and for all this notion that is a hangover from the 60s, that somehow Democrats are weak on crime and Democratic presidents are weak on crime and Republicans are tough on crime. The truth is, every major crime bill since 1976 that's come out of this Congress. Every minor crime bill has had the name of the Democratic senator in the state of Delaware, Joe Biden.
Tell on yourself. Listen to this doofus. Bro.
Delaware, Joe Biden, on that bill.
He was on it. He did it.
Has had the name of the Democratic senator from the state of Delaware, Joe Biden, on that bill. We must take back the streets. It doesn't matter whether or not the person that is accosting your son or daughter or my son or daughter, my wife, your husband, my mother, your parents. It doesn't matter whether or not they were deprived as a youth. It doesn't matter or not whether or not they had no background that enabled.
Deprived, meaning their right. So if they had their rights subjugated. Now, mind you, he's trying to spin it into, he's making the people who's listening to that the people in the so-called poor communities, it assumes that they're already going to be on a certain type of time based off their age and their demographic or where they live. Statistics, Mars.
Them to have to become socialized into the fabric of society. It doesn't matter whether or not they're the victims of society. The result is they're about to knock my mother on the head with a lead pipe, shoot my sister, beat up
lead pipe, black pipe,
up my wife, take on my sons. So I want to ask, what made them do this? They must be taken off the street. That's number one. And that is, unless we do something about that cadre of young people, tens of thousands of them, born out of wedlock, without parents, without supervision, without any structure, without any conscience developing.
Oh, Moors. Who the hell he talking about right now? This has to be ringing bells. Who he talking about?
They literally, I yield myself 3 more minutes, because they literally have not been socialized. They literally have not had an opportunity.
Socialized means denationalized.
We should focus on them now, not out of a liberal instinct for
focus
love,
like a scope of a gun.
although I think that's a good instinct, but for simple, pragmatic reasons.
What?
If we don't, they will, or a portion of them will, become the predators 15 years from now.
Well, what happened? Predators is the people on. Well, we're going to find out who the predators is right here. Who the predators? Let's find out. Boom. Oh, shoot. The Federalist. Okay. 4 years later, Planned Parenthood whistleblower still trapped in Kamala Harris's prosecution. David Daleiden. Please look him up, David Daleiden. So you can look up the videos of him going into the Planned Parenthood and the stuff they be saying about Planned Parenthood. It'll be another video. Bro, this is so messed up. It's so unhumane. It will make your head spin. And these women seem normal, but they work for these demons. So anyway, let's watch and peep back from it. Let's see how this goes. Right here. Okay. So we're going to show you how this works. California codes. Evidence code. Evidence? What's evidence? A publisher, editor, reporter, or other person connected with, employed on a newspaper, magazine, or other periodical publication or press wire such and such, defined as this. Source of any information procured, so connected or employed for publication in a newspaper, magazine, or other publication, or for refusing to disclose any unpublished information obtained in preparing the gathering. So you have to, refusing to disclose, you have to disclose the information and publish it, right? So what happens when they stop the reporter from reporting? Is that them violating the California code stuff? No. Free, you got a freedom of speech. That part. David Layden lawsuit accuses Planned Parenthood of smearing him in public, admitting that the videos are true under oath. So in the court case, the police and all these people that came to get him, they admitted that the damn videos that he was putting up were true. So they weren't lies. So why is he even in court? Planned Parenthood admits my videos are true when under oath in federal court. Under oath, they admit. So how is he even still being messed with? Guess what he said? I have put my life on hold for 5 years to report with video evidence the trafficking of aborted infants that I otherwise witnessed at the highest levels of Planned Parenthood in the abortion industry. Look, really, unsealed show Planned Parenthood build a tissue company, nearly $25K for fetal body parts. That's the other part. See that right here. The lawsuit stems from years-long conflict with Planned Parenthood and Delayden. This noble son was going in, who was claimed that the organization's profits from fetal body parts obtained through abortions. So that's the real money from this. So watch this. You see how they got everybody all caught up with adrenochrome and everything that's going on in Hollywood? When every hood has a Planned Parenthood in it? Watch this, Moors. How do the Planned Parenthoods even gain people to go in them? There wouldn't be a Planned Parenthood if you wasn't going to it. Forget Margaret Sanger at this point. Why are people going to them? Adoption just, that's out of the case. Don't you tell me you got raped. Everybody got raped. So then so the whole point of Planned Parenthood is because it's rape? No. Then how come they don't have therapists up in there? Or do they have therapists up in there? The rapists of the mind. Therapist. Spell therapist out and then break it down in 2 words and tell me what you see. Anyway, Delayden is killing stuff about how they're selling fetal tissue. Who they selling it to? You look up Rabbi Finkelstein, his video, and this guy actually went to school in Yale and graduated. So he's no joke. The Jewish rabbi guy. He go crazy on the radio on this old John, Rabbi Finkelstein, exposing how the Jews are feeding the dead children of people, European and everybody else that want to follow Europeans included, back to them in the fast food. Isn't this a possibility of how it can work? The Planned Parenthood. Judge drops 6 charges in Kamala Harris's case against David Delayden, sends 9 to criminal trial. Why is he going to trial? For when it was under oath. So this lady was involved with funding this stuff. She got a bunch of bread from them. Get out of there. Get out of there. This is crazy. This is real. This is actually real. I can't believe it. Kamala Harris received $81,000 from Planned Parenthood clinics caught selling aborted baby parts. That's why they don't want them to bring it to court. Biden's pick. She also was putting people in jail too. Crazier than him. She was working the crime bill and selling it, getting fiat off of aborted. This is crazy. This is crazy. Kamala Harris tried to put pro-lifers in jail who exposed Planned Parenthood selling baby parts. Okay. All right. That's David Delayden. We already know. We seen him, right? We know you. We see what you're doing. People. Don't even vote for these people. How? You sleep under a rock and hard place? Do you not know what's going on right now? Where does Kamala Harris's toughness come from? The 2 indomitable women who raised her. Now, Hindustani. This lady trying to play like she black and a black vote and all that. If you don't vote for him, you're not black, but he got the so-called black. But she Indian, she's so-called Hindustani. Matter of fact, she Hindustani. The same people that this guy was talking about in his other video about how they got to have a so-called Hindustani accent to work in the 7-Elevens. Okay, that's who she actually is bloodline to. So why didn't she get mad at him for that? Never mind. Do you know she was against him before? Never mind. But still doing the same thing as him. Must have been an act. And her mother was actually, she died from rectal cancer, right? Remind you of somebody that just passed away, right? Chadwick Boseman, right? Guess what she was working on? She was working on the same chemicals that are in adrenochrome. Get an adrenaline from the cells to fight cancer cells with. That's how you die from cancer. Please. Her mom was a cancer researcher, but died from it when she found the serum they needed. She thought it was going to be for stem cells and curing. Ain't no cure. These people don't cure nothing. Treatment. Treatment, treatment, treatment. It's all treatment so we can stay in a cycle. Nobody gets fixed for real. So, what was this one? Kamala Harris promoted bail fund that freed child molester from jail. So she's also into freeing child molesters. And look where? Minnesota, Minneapolis, huh? Isn't that where the George stuff happened? Free protesters begin rioting and arrest riots in Minnesota. Huh. So while they're fucking worried about a knee on the neck, she's freeing people that assaulted an 8-year-old girl. No, nah, put your look crazy. She looked crazy. Anyway, get out of there. Planned Parenthood, Delayden. You can look it all up for yourself. He went in. Delayden went in. He got videos where he actually go into the Planned Parenthood. I ain't gonna go through all those because I got more stuff to show y'all. From the studying of Kamala Harris's mother and other people, you get places like Clone-Aid. Y'all, so now this is going to nail the clone stuff right in the butt, right? I'm gonna get the clone stuff out of here.
I'm very, very pleased to announce that the first baby clone is born.
1 year after 9/11. The first baby clone, right? Clone-Aid is the company. Look up Clone-Aid.
She was born yesterday.
They cloned a little woman. Oh, and then they showed you the first robot was actually a woman. Please.
At 11:55 a.m.
1155. That's 66.
In the country where she was born. So this will not give you more details about the location.
So she was born on 6/6, missing a 16 because she's not human.
She's fine. We call her Eve between us.
I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Eve. Gotta tie it into some fake story. Keep going. Now, after we get the first clone, so did they let us know about it in 2002? Nobody said anything. This is what we get.
At the back of a suburban coffee shop in Montreal, you'll find 4 young computer scientists and their new startup, Lyrebird. These guys are doing something amazing and frightening. They're using AI to clone your voice.
Are you speaking about this new algorithm to copy voices? This is you. They can make us say anything, not really anything.
Wow. Okay.
Voice and creating some mayhem in your personal life. Now, to really put my computer voice to the test, I am going to call my dear, sweet mother and see if she recognizes me.
Here we go.
Hey, Mom. What are you guys up to today?
Well, it's we didn't have any electricity early this morning, and we're just hanging around the house.
I'm just finishing up work and waiting for the boys to get home.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm coming down with a virus.
Oh, well, you feel bad, hey?
So basically, he caught her. She didn't even know.
You were talking to...
Anyway, when you look earlier in that video, they show you how it used to take 8 hours. He said it would take 8 hours of talking to clone your voice. Now it only take 8 minutes. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, before 2002.
Our administration believes that there are loopholes that could allow the cloning of human beings if the technology were developed.
No, stop. Listen to what he's saying in the beginning before they cut it. Listen real close.
Good morning. Would it be possible to clone? Our administration believes that there are loopholes that could allow the cloning of human beings if the technology were developed.
He was talking about it may be possible. Now he
bans the use of any federal funds for any cloning of human beings.
Which means
effective immediately, no federal agency may support, fund, or undertake such activity.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, a great deal of research and activity in this area is supported by private funds.
Planned Parenthood private, y'all. So if these people, man, I'm telling y'all, all this stuff is corroborated together. So because Then when you think about that, really a lot of these people have been tried in military tribunals and they dead right now. A lot of these people is dead. How you gonna have a damn election if Biden ain't really here? You have to have clones. You gotta have what do you call it? That voiceover technology, and you gotta have this.
It's been a week since the deadliest mass shooting in American history. And foremost in all of our minds has been the loss and the grief felt by the people of Orlando.
Here's the ground truth video of Obama saying the same words.
Especially our friends who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender.
Fake over here.
I visited with the families of many of the victims on Thursday, and one thing I told them is that they're not alone.
Computer scientists at the University of Washington had a neural net analyze millions of videos to determine how elements of Obama's face moved as it talked. So
Method is a recurrent network.
They created this.
My election symbolizes some progress, at least within the small town. Everybody, today, 20 million more American adults know the financial security of health insurance.
Nah. So right there with fake.
President Barack Obama, when you're giving a speech, make sure you use a lot of pauses.
So you don't even need him, the guy doing a voiceover. You can get the computer to do the voiceover. So AI voiceover plus AI technology, they can create the face and make them say whatever you want them to say. Plus clones is how you got people acting like they dead and not really dead. So this is this right here, realism, right? Don't you see how the swatch is in the middle of the crap and nobody said these people are anti-Semitic? Give me a break. Give me a break. So let's deal with these Israelism people real quick. I just want to show y'all one thing right here. Clonade. Clonade. Immortality through human cloning. This is their religion, y'all. Look. Among these listed prophets, Buddha, Jesus of Nazareth, Muhammad, with Rael himself being the 40. Man, look, listen. Realism teaches extraterrestrial species known as Elohim created humanity. That's not a lie, but what are y'all doing? Trying to make human cloning work and what the fudge, dog? Rail launched Clonade? I didn't even know that. Oh my God. December 2. Oh, that is nuts. Okay, so that's why Hitler. They might as well be, right? That's why, well, never give Hitler's stuff to these. I'll do something on him later. But that's why Bill had to talk like that, because he was trying to cover up Clonade. It's 1997, yeah. Look at this. They trying to get the mortality. These people got cloned. Fake Jesus up there in rail getting people cloned. Come on now. Come on. This is what, see, now from here, we'll go to the Black's Law Dictionary, because it's never enough. How do you keep from getting yourself cloned? We'll go right here. Now, I can't show this because I got my, different version set up. I got my other line on, so I can't show you the screenshot, everything. But just trust me, I will not lead you astray. We are going to jump in the Black's Law 5th edition, because Black's Law 5th edition has a better definition in explaining what I'm trying to show y'all real quick. So we'll go from just sanguine. We'll go from just sanguine to just sanguine, just sole. So I want to show y'all, the Moors that don't understand, how crazy it is what we're doing. Okay, right to it. Just sole, right? Just sole. No, let's do just sanguinis first. Just sanguinis, the right of blood, the principle that a person's citizenship is determined by the citizenship of the parents. If you read older versions, it's going to say the citizenship is determined by blood. So if jus sanguinis is determined by the blood of the person to denote what the citizenship is, that's nationality. And then they say the parents, where the parents born, because that's their nation. Whatever nation the parents is from, that's their nationality. So anyway, let's get this. See, jus sole, right? One specifically the female, because we are matrilineal. Jus sole, it says see jus sole. So we go down. The law of the place of one's birth as contrasted with jus sanguinis. So see what just happened? They talking, so you could have a right of birth just because you were born somewhere. Don't that sound like somebody? If you go ask a European right now, how are you American? He's going to tell you, all my family is born in Wyoming. We've been there since the ages. Okay, cool. What that blood do though? And that's where it get real quiet, because that blood can't trump jus sanguinis. Is actually the opposite of it. And let's keep going with this jus sole. I mean, my fault. That blood can't trump that that right of claim on him being born there can't trump that jus sole. So we go to jus sanguinis. There I go again. But his right of claim on the land, just because he was born there, does not trump the blood, which is jus sanguinis. We go to jus sole, the law of the place of one's birth as contrasted with jus sanguinis. So it's contrasted with the blood. Opposite of it, right? The law of the place of one's descent or parentage. That's why I said watch out for that meaning of jus sanguinis being the place of the parent's citizenship, because that, it could cause confusion. One's descent. We're the descendant of Moroccans born in America, right? If you deal with that. Descent or parentage, but parentage, depending on the parents, it could be anything. So this is literally how Europeans do law now, based off of you descended from the so-called black African slave people. You descended from them, so you're slaves. They were black people. Your parents were slaves, so you gotta, your parents. Bro, like, what about that blood though? The principle that a person's citizenship is determined by a place of birth rather than the citizenship of one's blood, it is of feudal origin. So it's feudal law, which is English and, all about taking people's land and acting like the Lord and all that. That's feudal to say, oh man, look, we can just buy the block. That's feudalism. And they don't buy no block. What block and who? Who you gonna buy it from? Who are you procuring the goddamn immovable property from? That's yours. You just got to know how to claim, because we just read before, like Beyonce's family and all that. It's on, the burden of proof is on that Moor, or on that Lascar, or on that so-called American Indian, or on that Hindu, or on that so-called Aborigine, right? That Moor. Burden of proof is on you to prove that you're a Moor and a Bay, not a Bay once. See? So we go from there to consanguinity. Consanguinity now is kinship, blood relationship. Now, why is that important? It sounds good, but that con should have gave it away. If there's a jus sanguinity, right is just. If there's a jus sanguinity, you have to know the con is a construct. The con is connotative. You didn't see that? So let's look at consanguinity, right? Same stock, common ancestor. That's damn evolution talk. We have the same common ancestry. Come from monkeys and a common ancestor. Okay, watch this. Affinity. Oh, so now it's just infinity. Okay, watch this. Is connection existing in consequence of a marriage? Consequence. Like consequences from marriage. That's Christian. Selling out your bloodline. See? Joining the brotherhood instead of connecting to your bloodline, that's Christian. So now we deal with lineal and collateral consanguinity. Lineal consanguinity is that subsists between the persons of whom one descended in the direct line from the other, as between son, father, grandfather, great-grandfather. See how it works? My son, I birthed my son out of Virgin Mary, even though I didn't touch her. No, that's gay. Collateral. See, so right here we deal with lineal. Their matrilineal. See, they're talking about descending from the father. How does that work? That can't work. So that's the subjugation right here. That's why it's feudal. So we go collateral now. Collateral consanguinity is that which subsists between persons who have the same ancestors, but who do not descend or ascend one from the other. Thus, father, son are related by lineal consanguinity to the uncle and the nephew. So y'all not even really related. See how that go? Lineal. It's not even real. So when we matrilineal, we tie right into the mother line, into the blood. When you lineal consanguineous, you just tying into the father. And collateral, now you got an uncle and a nephew. See? So we shut this book of 5 principles of the 5th edition of the Black's Law Dictionary. And we also, we also go back to the construct. And, here we go. The construct. So, I got to end my share, stop my share, boom. All right, so we get back to the construct. So Islam Morris, Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1988. Go look up what damn Biden was continuing. Go look it up, what he was continuing, right? Peace, love, and light to the Morris. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And if you look forward at your ancestors right in front of you, I bet y'all somebody in y'all consanguinity resembles one of them today. So how are you not the Morris? Islam.